Tonight on CTV, a dive into how the Amazon purchase of Whole Foods will impact your life.
Also, a look at the presentation by Lambda Theta Nu.
All this, as well as weather, sports, and entertainment starting now on CTV. Welcome to CTV, I'm Marlo, Lundak.
And I'm Amelia, Castaneda.
And here's today's stories. The student body president, Josh Silva, is facing impeachment charges from ASCSU in the first session of the year. A petition to impeach started by Senator Nordstrom was reached 26% of the student body, which surpasses the 20% required for the impeachment to move forward. The petition stems from the action Silva took to negotiate with the Wall Street Journal, attempting to get a contract bringing the newspaper's print and web access to students. The negotiations led to a contract requiring $19,067 of the ASCSU Constitution, Section 801, which states funds may be transferred between ASCSU departments by the President only with approval of the Senate in the form of supplemental funding bill that shall be written and presented by the President. It also claims Silva to be in violation of Article 1, Section D, Part 6 of the ASCSU Ethics Code, which states that ASCSU officials cannot create binding commitments without first getting proper authorization. Silva responded to the petition saying, "We did not violate the Constitution. Michael and I set a really high bar for ourselves when it comes to being transparent, and for a lot of people, there was a feeling that we fell short of that bar. If there's a protocol that was broken per se, it would be communicating." An impeachment committee is expected to be formed next week.
President Tony Frank sent an email earlier today to all students, faculty, and staff addressing the disturbing news of the paper news found hanging in the Newsom Hall. In the email, he states, "A news, no matter what it's made of, is always a symbol of violence and terror, period. As I said, plainly in my first message to campus, our Colorado State community stands firmly against anyone who seeks to intimidate, incite violence, and deprive others of their constitutional rights." Frank then goes on to address and inform students and faculty about Hurricane Harvey and ways that students can both give and get assistance during this terrible tragedy.
The organic giant, otherwise known as Whole Foods, has gained a lot of attention after the recent $13.4 billion purchase of the upscale grocery store by the internet's largest e-commerce company, Amazon. But how will this affect students here at CSU?
In a college community,
the prompter is going too fast.
The first choice for young students. However, with the recent drop in prices, some students say they would be willing to give it a shot.
Definitely. I think Whole Foods has a lot of good options. I think it's healthier, but it's always just really overpriced. I think that'd be a lot of people's go-to, but it's just really expensive. I mean, they call it whole paycheck for a reason.
Absolutely. Whole Foods sells quality food, quality types of food. The food, people really don't shop there just because they're expensive, but they definitely have food that I'm willing to engage in.
Other shoppers on campus were unsure if they would try Whole Foods. One student told me he would rather stick to King Soopers.
So I might just keep going to King Soopers and trying to stay healthy there. But maybe in the future I'll go to Whole Foods.
Kinda. They're doing it all on their products and stuff, and they usually don't go for like the Kroger brand of Whole Foods stuff. We go for specialty things, so it's not a huge thing, but I'm all about it. Get people to shop there.
Whole Foods and Amazon have also began delivering groceries right to the customer's home in an attempt to compete with Walmart, the largest grocery retailer in the U.S., who also struggles with selling online groceries. Students seem skeptical.
No. That just sounds like too much work. And I feel like I never know what I want until I'm in the store and actually look through it and grab something.
Probably in the future. I don't really see myself at that point right now. I'm not that tech savvy.
I actually do buy some of them online, but it's mostly tea powders and stuff. I don't buy perishables, and I don't think I would. It's just sketchy. There's no way to be sure it's going to be refrigerated while it's in the mail.
Although there were many opinions about Whole Foods, the CSU community seems excited about how much it will change.
With these prices dropping, students can look to shop for more organic options while keeping a little extra money in their pockets.
The Argus Institute at Colorado State University Teaching Hospital will be hosting their annual Pet Memorial on September 10th. This event is for clients of the hospital who have lost a companion animal. This is the 10th year of the memorial that offers a safe place to mourn the loss of former pets. The attendees of this event have grown from 60 people back in 2008 to almost 140 last year. The memorial will be in rooms 118 and 120 of the Flint Animal Cancer Center and will be on September 10th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Space is limited though, so you must RSVP by tomorrow, September 1st.
This weekend will be nice and busy here in Fort Collins. On Saturday, New Belgium's Tour de Fat will be happening. This event is entering its 18th year and will contain crazy bikes, wacky costumes, and amusement galore. So head over to New Belgium Brewing at 500 Linden Street for bikes, beers, and bemusement. Then, on Labor Day, time to slip on your running shoes and get moving. It's the Fortitude 10K. So set your alarm and come join 7,500 racers at 8 a.m. at Moby Arena.
A new member presentation unites the Greek community on Colorado State University's campus. 200 students and families from all over Colorado filled the lecture hall in the Behavioral Sciences building on Wednesday to see a new member presentation organized by Lambda Theta Nu Sorority Incorporated, a multicultural sorority at CSU. New members wore masks to cover their faces as they said information pertaining to their organization, followed by a traditional line dance known as a stroll. According to Stephanie Fernandez, a member of the organization, the practices took place every day since the start of the school year.
They show themselves up through everything that they put into this organization before anyone knew that they were sisters, and now they can enjoy it with every single Greek.
A total of 10 organizations make up this multicultural council at CSU, and almost every organization reveals their new members through some type of public presentation.
We take pride in ourselves and we take pride in our letters. That's kind of what's different about MGC. It's just about uniting and supporting each other and making a difference, not just for within our university, but within the community as well.
The Multicultural Council will be showcasing every organization at the Rooted in Culture event on September 21st at 6 p.m. in the LSC Theater. For more information on fraternity and sorority life at CSU, visit fsl.colostate.edu.
That's all for news.
Stay tuned for weather, sports, and entertainment right after this.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Good evening. Good evening, Rams. I'm your weatherman, Michelangelo Bustamante. And as Marlo was saying earlier, we've got a really exciting weekend coming up. So let's get right to the forecast. All right, so as you look at tonight's lows, across the Front Range, we have pretty good weather. It's going to be 60 tonight in Fort Collins. It's going to be in the low to mid 60s up and down the Front Range. Let's talk about the Showdown. So the Showdown is going to be the biggest event in the state of Colorado tomorrow. So let's get right to the forecast. When you're tailgating at the game tomorrow, it's going to be pretty hot out there, 85 and sunny skies. So be sure to drink plenty of water. Then at kickoff, it's going to be 83 with a slight breeze. So it's going to cool down a little bit. Still going to be hot, so be sure to keep drinking that water, but it's going to be a great football forecast. Then at the start of the fourth quarter, it's going to be 72, so it's going to definitely have cooled off by then. A few clouds in the sky. Overall, though, perfect weather for the football game. All right, so now let's get into tomorrow's highs as people come from all over the state into Denver. As we go up and down the Front Range, is going to be in the upper 80s, 86 in Fort Collins, 85 in Denver. A little bit cooler in Colorado Springs. They're supposed to have a couple of rain showers. Pueblo, though, it's going to be 86. Out in the Eastern Plains, it's going to be in the 90s to upper 80s. And then out in the mountains, a little bit cooler. Steamboat coming in at 78 degrees, Vail at 74, Gunnison at 75, Alamosa at 75 as well. And then in Grand Junction, it's going to be a pretty hot day, 92 degrees, but still overall across the state, beautiful weather tomorrow. All right, so as everyone knows, Labor Day weekend is one of the biggest camping weekends of the year. So I took a look at the weather forecast up at Red Feather Lakes, a really popular camping destination here in northern Colorado, and they're going to have perfect weather this weekend. So on Saturday, it's going to be 77 degrees with a low of 48. There shouldn't be a cloud in the sky, so it's going to be perfect. And then on Sunday, it's going to be 81 degrees with a low of 43. In my opinion, that's perfect camping weather. All right, so let's take a look at the 7-day forecast now as we go. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast now as we go throughout the rest of the week. Overall, it's going to be pretty good. Friday is going to be 85 here in Fort Collins, 90 on Saturday, 96 on Sunday. It's going to be pretty hot, so you definitely want to be drinking a lot of water. And then on Monday for the annual Fortitude, or the inaugural Fortitude, it's going to be 89. So pretty hot. Be sure to wear sunscreen, drink lots of water. On Tuesday, it's going to cool off a little bit. It's going to be a little rainy, 79 degrees. Wednesday, though, it's going to start warming back up, 82. And then on Thursday, it's going to be 89. Perfect weather. The summer comes back in full swing. All right, and then speaking of what's going on Monday, it's going to be a very historic weekend here in Fort Collins as the inaugural Fortitude kicks off. This is going to be one of the largest races in northern Colorado's history. It's Fort Collins' version of the Boulder Boulder. So at 8 a.m. when the A wave starts, it's going to be 70 degrees. It's perfect running weather. Then at 9 a.m., well, after you've been running for a while, it's going to be 73 degrees, amazing weather. And when the pros start running at 10:30, it's going to be 77. So it's not going to be quite as hot yet, but thankfully most of the runners are going to be done by the time that it heats up. So now before I go, I need to say something. As a weather forecaster, there's no way that I can go through this week without saying something about what's been going on in Houston. The images have been heartbreaking. Over the last week, Tropical Storm Harvey has dumped over 40 inches of rain around the Houston area. This has been devastating for the region. Despite this, the people of Houston and the first responders have remained resilient in the face of chaos and despair. The way that people from all walks of life have come together to help each other is remarkable, and it's something that's definitely worth noting. Volunteers from across the country, even right here in Colorado, have rushed down to help in whatever way they can. But you don't have to drive down to Houston to help. Many charities, such as the Greater Houston Community Foundation, Global Giving, and the United Way of Houston, are accepting donations online to help victims rebuild their lives. This story continues to develop as Harvey makes its way inland. And for the latest updates, be sure to stay tuned to CTV and the Collegian. That's all I have for you tonight, Rams. Good night.
You've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back, Rams. My name is Tyler Patterson, and I'm your Thursday night sports anchor here to catch you up on all things involving CSU athletics. We're going to kick this thing off by getting into some soccer action as your CSU women's soccer team traveled to Greeley last Thursday night to take on the UNC Bears. Let's get to some highlights. As UNC was on the attack from the first whistle. CSU senior goaltender Paige Brandt was on her toes early and often for the Rams as UNC's offense was relentless at home. Here in the 27th minute, UNC's Mario Gutierrez launches a shot from deep, and that's going to be a goal. The Bears would enter halftime with a 1-0 lead over the Rams. Fast forward to the second half of action, Mario Gutierrez sets up for a free kick, and that is what she's going to do. She's going to score her second goal of the game, 60th minute. The Bears would take a 2-0 lead after that goal, her second of the night. Although the Rams would not go down easy in this match as they would capitalize right here on a corner kick in the 82nd minute. Taylor Stanky on the goal, assisted by Taylor McKenzie. That would make it 2-1 Rams. Unfortunately, the Rams would run out of time and would eventually fall to UNC in a close game, 2-1. Moving on to some volleyball action from this past Tuesday night, your women's volleyball team hosted UNC Greeley at Moby Arena, and they prepared to defend home court. CSU dominated the entire match and would end up sweeping the Bears 3-0. The Rams will head to Tallahassee, Florida this weekend for a tournament that includes games against TCU, UNC Asheville, and the number 15th ranked Florida State Seminoles. The Rams will return to Moby Arena next Friday, September 8th, where they will host Ball State. If you haven't heard yet, the CSU football team opened up the NCAA season, which meant that CSU opened up their on-campus stadium for the first time. CSU defeated the Oregon State Beavers 58-27 in a packed home opener. The Rams will take on in-state rival Colorado Buffaloes tomorrow night at Sports Authority Field. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. And we caught up with CSU running back Izzy Matthews, who scored the school's first touchdown in the new stadium, to talk about whether or not last season's loss to the CU Buffaloes dwelled over the Rams.
Everywhere throughout the nation, from Pop Warner all the way up through professional, you're looking forward to rivalry games, and this one's no different. I mean, last 2 years haven't been the outcome we want, so you can't be anything but excited for this game coming up. I think just putting last year's game out of our head. I think for the most part we have. But I mean, obviously, you know, you see it on social media, you see it just around the news that's looming over our heads, and just putting that aside and stepping up and remembering that this is a completely new year, 2 brand new teams, you know, taking it for every play it is. It's 2 completely different teams. That's so far in the back of my mind that I don't even remember what happened a year ago.
That's all I have for tonight, Rams. Stay respectful and stay safe tomorrow night at the Showdown, and make sure to tune in next week to catch up on all the latest in CSU athletics. Up next is Ryan Crist with entertainment.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Happy Thursday, Rams. I'm Ryan Crist, your host for the next 5 minutes. We all know Mark Hamill from his amazing performance in the original Star Wars trilogy as Luke Skywalker, the only character to unknowingly kiss his sister and then be unfazed when he learns that she was his sister. Anyways, last week, Mark Hamill tweeted out that he is supporting the GoFundMe called Buy Twitter and Ban Trump. This is a rather new GoFundMe that is trying to raise $1 billion so it can buy a large enough share in Twitter's company to demand that Trump should be banned. On this page, the founder writes that, quote, Trump has done a lot of horrible things on Twitter. From emboldening white supremacists to promoting violence against journalists, his tweets damage the country and put people in harm's way. It's time to shut him down, end quote. Mark Hamill tweeted, with my Armageddon anxiety growing daily, I donated gladly. This isn't the first time that Mark Hamill has shown his opinion about Trump, and I don't think it'll be the last. This GoFundMe has been up for 2 weeks and has already raised $85,927. While we still are light years away from $1 billion, the only thing I can say is, good luck, Trump. You can view this GoFundMe at www.gofundme.com/buytwitter. In some other entertainment news, this past weekend was the VMAs, and if you watched it, you must have noticed Fifth Harmony's performance, where the fifth performer jumped from the stage, leaving most of the audience confused, saying the performance went on without her. Well, on Tuesday morning, the group went on Good Morning America and cleared things up. The ladies explained that it was part of the show due to one of the girls, known as Camila Cabello, who had recently left the group. The group was quoted saying, "We get asked all the time if we're going to get a fifth member, and we wanted to show the world that the 4 of us are Fifth Harmony." Now, I think that was a great and creative way to show that they only have 4 members now. But if you're anything like me, you are just now realizing that one of the members of Fifth Harmony has left, and they should now be called Fourth Harmony, but they're keeping it as a 4-person group and keeping the name Fifth Harmony. But regardless of their name being incredibly misleading now, Fifth Harmony still had a great performance at the VMAs. In some local news, it was certainly a day for the dogs in Fort Collins, and I know you're going to be sad that you missed out.
At City Park Pool this past weekend, pet owners were lining up to let their dogs into the pool's annual Pooch Plunge, where these dogs had full reign over the pool, where they could play fetch, splash around in the pool, or hang out in the grass. They even had vendors where owners could get free tennis balls and free treats. Whether your dog is small or big, every dog was welcome. I spoke to the marketing and publicity specialist, Jamie McManus, who told me what a typical pet owner could expect from the Pooch Plunge.
A typical pet owner can expect mayhem when they come to City Park Pool for the Pooch Plunge. There's just hundreds of dogs that are running wild and having fun. When I think of the Pooch Plunge, I think of pure joy. Dogs are smiling ear to ear, just having fun.
I'm Ryan Crist, CTV News.
Those dogs were adorable, and I really wanted a dog before this event, but now after it, I really need one. As we all know, Coldplay started their Head Full of Dreams tour at the start of this month and plan to hit 16 different cities. One of their most recent stops was supposed to be in Houston. With the massive flooding in Houston, the concert was canceled, and they moved on to their next destination, where they wrote and sang an original song about Houston for all the people who couldn't make it. The band stated that they all love country music and were excited that they're going to go to Houston, Texas, but they were forced to cancel it, which made this song that more special. The song they wrote was called Dreaming of Houston, and it's certainly worth a listen. With Walking Dead fans gearing up for another gruesome season, Next Games decided to launch another mobile game known as Walking Dead Our World. This is an augmented reality game, which means it's exactly like Pokemon Go, but with zombies. In this game, instead of catching Pokemons, you're finding weapons to defend against the hordes of zombies coming towards you. With the game trailer being the only information we have on gameplay, this is all we know for now, and who knows for how long, as the game does not have an official release date. Now, as a Walking Dead fan, when I heard of this, I was pretty psyched, you know. Pokemon Go was fun, why can't Zombies Go be fun too? That is, until I started thinking about it. Do I really want to see zombies just walking around in my room? I mean, we don't know what they look like for sure yet, since there's no gameplay footage. But if they look anything like that from the trailer, I have to say a hard nope to that game. Well, Rams, that's all the time we have for tonight. Make sure to stay tuned for Monday's sports show and have a great time at the Rocky Mountain Showdown.